welcome back. It's Maxine, your spiritual astrologer, sharing astrology in a more empowering and soul-centered way. And if you want to know what the Taurus new moon on May 7th, May 8th, depending on your time zone, what that means for you, what the deeper spiritual messages are, what new intentions, new goals you might want to set around this time, how these transits, the energy shifts surrounding early May are influencing you, then you are in the right place. And specifically, I'll get into the 5 key spiritual messages that are really being highlighted now with this Taurus new moon and the transits, the energy shifts surrounding this time as well. So I'll also talk about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We'll talk about this reflection on Mercury retrograde in Aries and Venus in Taurus and some other transits too. So yeah, that's what you're going to get out of this episode. As always, no matter what zodiac sign, whatever your birth chart is, you will get something out of this. This will not be wasted time for you. So just to share that at the start. And of course, if you want even more specifics, I do have free moon horoscopes that I write for every new and full moon. So make sure you sign up for those. You can go to MaxineLuthia.com to get on that list. And you'll also see there other ways to learn astrology, learn spiritual astrology with me. Everything from a free downloadable astrology basics guide to booking a reading or also signing up for spiritual astrology school. And we actually are about to start a new semester in May, so later this month. And if you want to learn more about that, you can check that out at the link there too, or reach out to me with any questions you have. But would love to have you join if you really want to deepen your astrology practice. And I do have one really exciting surprise announcement for you, and it's been much requested. So if you have been here a long time, you'll be really excited to hear about that. But we'll just jump into it now, and I'll share that at the end with a discount code for you. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with just some tips to kind of lay the groundwork for this new moon in Taurus to make sure that you are making the most of this time for change, this time for setting new intentions and manifesting. And then I'll get into those 5 key spiritual messages for you. So the first thing to know is the timing piece. So it's taking place, as I shared, May 7th or May 8th, depending on where in the world you are. So if you're further to the west, if you live in the US, for example, that's on May 7th at night. And then if you live across the pond, as I do, or further east, then it's going to be on May 8th. Whenever there's a new moon, it brings a new start. There's a new opportunity for you to really reflect and see what is it that you want going forward. And that could be a new intention, it can be a new goal, but just to know that especially the days after that, that's where the energy is building. So if you wanted to write out new intentions, you could do it at that exact day, or the day following tends to be a really fruitful time to plant those seeds for change. Now, the second thing to know is that this new moon is in Taurus, so if you have any planets, like myself, in Taurus, then this will be a more significant new moon for you. And especially if you have, let's say, your sun, your moon, your rising sign, a personal planet, look to see if you have any in Taurus, but especially at that 18-degree mark. So if you know a bit more about astrology, you can look to see, do you have any planets at or close to 18 degrees where this new moon in Taurus is exact? And if you do, then note that again, it will be more significant the closer it is. And then if you have any planets in Scorpio around that degree especially, or even Leo, Aquarius, the other fixed signs, then this new moon in Taurus, you might really notice that you're feeling that drive to really start fresh, or new opportunities are coming into your life, or big changes being stirred up for you. So just to give you some background there, and as you listen to these 5 spiritual messages, listen with your intuition, listen with your heart, and see which one is really meant for you to hear. And not only to hear, but always keeping in mind there may be some action that you want to take, some conversation that needs to be had, some new routine or something that you want to do daily or intend to do so that you're taking what insight you're gathering here and applying that and improving your life. And that's where astrology becomes something that's not just living in your head, but really is applied to your day-to-day life. And that's where it's the spiritual tool that it's really meant to be. So just to share that with you at the start, but let's get into it. What are those 5 key spiritual messages for this Taurus new moon, new start? So message number 1 for the Taurus new moon is slow down. Slow down, pause, allow yourself to just stop and smell the roses. If you feel like you've just been going, and you feel there's been so much coming up for you, this is the time to slow down and let yourself just appreciate the little simple pleasures, simple joys of life. And it's the quote that keeps coming to me with this is that Ferris Bueller quote where it's, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. That is the essence of this message, is if you feel that you've just been rushing, this is the new moon where you may really feel like this fierce need to live your life. You may feel like you've just been kind of stuck in the hustle, or you've been stuck on just, what's it called? Like the treadmill, going in circles, and the hamster wheel, there we go. And you just feel like you need to let yourself appreciate the little moments a bit more, slowing down long enough to really bring gratitude to the present moment, to become more present for your life, to let yourself really appreciate the moment that you wake up in the morning and you get the chance to live another day. This moment right now, you are breathing, your organs, your body is working for you, your heart is pumping blood, you are really just so blessed to be able to have this vessel for yourself that is taking care of you, that loves you so much. When you're eating your food, slowing down and savoring the food, just giving grace for being able to actually have that meal, to be able to feed yourself, to have clean water, to shower, those things that seem perhaps small because they happen every day, but really they're huge blessings. But letting yourself, if this message is speaking to you, to consciously slow down, be more present, give thanks for those little things in life that really are not that little. And then spiritual message number 2 for this Taurus new moon is focus on what's worth it to you. What's really worth it to you? What is aligned with your values? What is it that you're willing to put in the time, to invest your energy, to commit to going forward? So with this new moon in Taurus, you're having this energy to slow down, to really take the time to evaluate, to reflect on what is worth it to you, and are you living in alignment with that? Do your actions reflect what is worth it to you? Are you investing your time in what in life really matters? Maybe at this time you might realize you've been spending way too much time working and you're like, oh no, you need to spend more time with your family or your friends or doing that hobby. You're seeing the ways in which this is what you actually want. This is where your heart is. And then this is what's happening day to day. And it's actually a very inspired energy. Ordinarily, that may feel naturally a bit overwhelming to feel that you're so far from where you want to be. But this is the time where you're really just getting crystal clear in what it is you want, what is worth the effort, what is worth the hard conversations, what is worth the energy, the time, the payoff will be worth it. That is what this new moon message is about here. What is worth it to you? If you've noticed, this new moon also, it's at 18 degrees and it's very closely conjunct the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which we saw exact end of April. So thinking back to about like the 20th, 21st, but really all of April, and we're still feeling it now, but this new moon is bringing that into focus again. So that energy of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of change, of wanting to take a leap of faith, of taking inspired action, of doing something differently, getting out of your comfort zone. That Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is interestingly flagged again at this time. So if you feel that you didn't, like, if you feel like you've missed the boat for that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, it's not too late. This new moon is flagging that. So perhaps you've wanted to make a change and you didn't have, like, what is the next step? What is the process? How can you ground that? How can you take that action or make a plan, create a schedule for yourself daily to get there? That is what this new moon is reconciling for us. So if you already have taken some inspired action, this is a time to ground that, to center yourself. And if you haven't, if you feel like you've missed the boat, this is that time to refocus on what it is that's worth it to you and say, okay, it's now. It's really, like, it was time probably before, but now it's really, really time. And it doesn't have to look like something that's like a lightning bolt. It could be something where you're now committing. You have that persistence. You want to work toward that because you know that the time is going to pass regardless. So why not commit to that? Why not invest your energy there? And this is that time where if this message resonates with you, you'll know what I mean. You just feel really ready in a grounded sense to take that action and be accountable and take responsibility over whatever that changes you want to make. So this is a great new moon to really get crystal clear on what is worth it to you, what change you want to make, and letting yourself not feel like you have to rush through to the finish line, but going step by step, creating that plan and knowing that the more that you focus on what really is worthwhile to you, the happier your life is going to become as a reflection of what it is that you truly are feeling called to in your heart. Then message number 3 for this Taurus new moon is know your value, know your worth, and really anchoring into that at this time. It's such a great opportunity to embody that. It might be something that you've been working on, and this is that aha moment that you needed. There may be some opportunity that's showing up in your life and you need to reach out and claim it. You might need to reach out for that support, or you might be tested. There might be a test in a relationship or some experience coming up to ask you to really know your worth and move through life and make decisions and show up in a way that is reflective of that, of knowing that regardless of what others may think, you are worthy, and that is not contingent on X, Y, and Z, or doing this, or living up to that expectation, or what that person wants of you, or what have you. It's really just knowing that innate value. And there may very well be a time with money here as well, financial compensation, that energetic trade. So you might notice that you're needing to ask for a raise at this time, or accept money, or you want to raise your prices to reflect the energy you're pouring into your work, or something of that sort. And there may also be a sense that you want to invest in yourself, and you want to make sure that you are being mindful of where you are putting your money in your life more. So there might be a sense that you're being more intentional going forward, and that you're spending in alignment with where you want to be and your values. So whether it's financially valuing yourself, your time, your gifts, your skills, or it's just valuing yourself, your soul, and understanding that you get to value yourself. That's not arrogant. It can turn into that, but what we're talking about here is healthy valuing of yourself. This is that time where you might really feel supported in that, if that's something that's tricky for you. So releasing this tendency to perhaps underestimate or undervalue yourself at this time. And that speaks a lot to Venus being in her home sign of Taurus. And there's just this energy of needing to love yourself more deeply. So even coming from that place as well. Then spiritual message number 4 is make better habits. This is a new moon to make sure that you are creating habits, routines, schedules, your day-to-day, making sure that that is a reflection of what you've been reflecting on, what I've just talked about here. So making sure you're valuing yourself and it shows, making sure that you know what your focus is, what your goals are, what you're working toward, what's meaningful to you. How is your day-to-day reflective of that? And this has a lot to do with this sextile being made from Saturn, this planet of discipline, of structure, to this new moon. So that's really helpful if you feel that you felt very out of routine lately or not having that sense of direction. This can pull you into those better routines, better habits going forward. And also, we're coming out of Mercury retrograde, and at this new moon in Taurus, we have Mercury conjunct Chiron. And again, we're coming out of Mercury retrograde. I talked about this a lot in the previous episode, but this is really important that you're keeping your word to yourself. And so it's so important that you're creating doable, actionable goals for yourself and intentions. So whatever those better habits are, they snowball. As long as you're being consistent with it, even if it seems small now, it really does add up. And so with this Taurus new moon, that's what it is all about, that slow and steady progress and growth and accumulation of your effort over time that gets rewarded. And so making sure that whatever new goal you set now, it's something of a change that you need, that you really are craving, that you want, that will improve your life by just doing little things each day. So for example, if you want to schedule in more self-care on a daily basis, that's something that maybe you don't have a 2-hour long chunk of time to get a massage each day or something of that sort. But it can look like, well, you're going to shower anyway. Why not listen to a guided meditation? Or you're going to drink your coffee anyway. Why not make sure you're stirring your intentions into that for the day? So really making sure that you are creating daily habits that, again, are going to help you get where you want to go and that are realistic. Because if they're not realistic, you're not going to do them and then they won't help you. So it's really important that you find those habits that feel doable to you and seeing the confidence that comes from really staying true to your word, keeping that promise of self-care, for example, to yourself each day. And also, I do not want to forget to share this with you, so here's the surprise announcement. I've just released my new positive affirmations guided meditation. So if you want to create a habit of setting yourself up for the right mindset to get you through the day in a really centered and empowered way, then this is an incredible way to do that. So in case you're interested in that meditation, I'll put that on my website, MaxineLuthia.com. It'll just be right at the top. The discount will already be applied, and that is a temporary discount just for the time around this Taurus new moon, because again, it is such a great time to create better habits, better routines for yourself, and really to get yourself in the right direction again. So I'll have that there in case you've been looking for something like this, maybe it's your sign. Then last but not least, spiritual message number 5 for the Taurus new moon is don't rush. Don't rush your progress, don't rush your growth. Do not compare your progress, where you're at, your timeline, to someone else's. Do not get stuck in that trap, because this is an opportunity to really make sure that you are tuning out the noise and you are setting your own pace. Just make sure that even as you are challenging yourself, you are not being hard on yourself. Make sure that you're not being too demanding or rigid or, having unreasonable expectations. Because again, it sometimes takes a bit more time than what you might think. And that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to get there. It just means that it's going to take a little bit more time. So just know that even as you're challenging yourself, you do not have to be hard on yourself. You do not have to be demanding. You do not have to just rush and lose appreciation for where you are at now in your journey, because that's also beautiful. You're going to look back at this one day and be so proud of yourself. So why not have that moment of appreciation now. And that's what this new moon is asking of us. It's asking us to slow down and appreciate that we're not in a race, we're actually in a journey. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's true. So that's why it's used so much, because really, if you're just waiting for the finish line, that's like a blip of time. But if you're appreciating the journey and you actually enjoy it, and you stop to smell the roses and all of that, then you're going to appreciate it so much more when you get there. So that is message number 5. So those are all 5 spiritual messages for this Taurus new moon, May 7th, May 8th. And of course, if you want to share which one really resonated with you, I'd love to hear that. So you can put that in the comments over here on YouTube, or if you want to reach out to me over on Instagram, I'd love to hear from you. If you want those moon horoscopes for free, you can sign up for those. Everything is on my website, MaxineLuthia.com, but I'll put it in the show notes for you too. And of course, if you're interested in getting my new positive affirmations guided meditation, it is so good. You're going to love it. It's been much requested and I finally have perfected it, and it's so beautiful. It's actually a version of what I myself listen to every morning and sometimes come back to when I really just need a dose of positive energy. So if you're interested, check it out. And last thing, just a reminder that the doors to Spiritual Astrology School will officially open for another semester mid-May, and we'll start June 1st officially. So if you are interested in learning with me how to read charts in a really in-depth and impactful spiritual way, then I recommend you check that out. There's tons of beautiful testimonials from past SAS grads, and yeah, you'll get a breakdown of everything we learn month to month, the lives, all of that is there for you. But please make sure you know you can always reach out to me if you have any questions, any doubts, anything. I'm just a message away. So reach out to me over on Instagram, or you can send me an email. So yeah, that is everything, and you can check out Maxine Luthia for all of that. But that's all I have for you for today's episode, and I just so appreciate you for being here, for listening to the end, and of course, happy Taurus new moon. Until next time, many blessings. Bye.